Welcome to Ancestral Garden. For 10,000 years, we have been told a lie about agriculture. We are taught that to grow food, you must suffer. You must dig. You must till. You must break your back turning the soil over and over again. The symbol of the gardener is the shovel. But what if I told you that the shovel is actually the enemy of the harvest? What if every time you turn the soil, you are not helping your plants? You are destroying an ancient biological city. In the 1970s, an 80-year-old woman named Ruth Stout did something that made the industrial farmers furious. She threw away her plow, she threw away her hoe, and she never watered her garden again. Yet while her neighbors were sweating in the sun fighting weeds and beetles, she was sitting on her porch. And when harvest time came, she didn't dig. She simply lifted a blanket of hay and picked up potatoes as if she were collecting eggs from a chicken coop. Clean, massive, and effortless. She grew 40 pounds of potatoes from a few square feet without ever touching the dirt. The experts called her the lazy gardener, but science calls her a genius. She discovered a method that uses thermodynamics and biology to replace mechanical labor. So why are we still digging trenches? Why are we still buying expensive machinery? Is it because we love hard work? Or is it because the industry cannot sell you a product if the solution is just dead grass? By the end of this video, I will show you exactly how to replicate her Stout system. I will show you how to throw away your shovel and triple your yield. But first, we have to understand why the soil hates to be naked. To understand the mistake we are making, you have to leave your garden and walk into a deep ancient forest. Look down at the ground. What do you see? Is the soil bare? Is it exposed to the harsh sunlight? Is it churned up by a machine? No, nature never exposes her skin. She always wears a coat. The forest floor is covered in layers of leaves, twigs, and decaying organic matter. It is soft, it is spongy, and it is alive. But in modern agriculture, the first thing we do is strip that coat off. We take a heavy rototiller and we tear the earth apart. We tell ourselves that we are aerating the soil. We think we are making it fluffy for the roots. But biologically speaking, we are creating a catastrophe. Imagine if a tornado ripped through New York City. That is what a rototiller does to the microscopic city beneath your feet. There is a vast invisible network called Mycelium. These are fungal threads that act as the internet of the soil. They transport water. They trade nutrients with the plant roots. They hold the soil particles together with a biological glue called glomalin. When you till the land, you tear this network to shreds. You introduce a massive rush of oxygen. This might look good for a week because the bacteria go into a feeding frenzy. Your plants get a quick boost. But it is a trap. That rush of oxygen burns up the carbon in the soil. It is called oxidation. You are literally burning the house down to warm the guests. Within a few seasons, the soil collapses. It loses its structure. It turns into dead gray dust. And the moment it rains, that dust settles into a concrete-like layer called hardpan. So think about the potato. We want it to expand. We want it to grow round and large. But we plant it in soil that we have turned into brick. So the potato fights. It struggles. It exerts all its energy just to push the dirt away. Ruth Stout looked at this madness and asked a simple question. Why am I working so hard to destroy the earth when nature builds it for free? She realized that the best plow in the world is not made of metal. It is made of decay. But let's be honest. We don't just till the land because we think it's good for the soil. We till because of a cultural programming that runs deep in our veins. We are taught that gardening is supposed to be a struggle. We treat it like a gym workout. We believe that if we aren't sweating, if our muscles aren't burning, then we don't deserve the harvest. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. But I want to do a reality check with you right now. I want you to access your memory bank. Think about your last potato harvest. Remember standing in the hot sun with a heavy spade in your hand. You thrust the metal into the ground. You heard the sound of roots tearing. You leveraged your back against the weight of the dense, heavy clay. And then, the tragedy happens. You hear a crack. You pull up the shovel and there it is. The biggest, most beautiful potato of the season, sliced cleanly in half by your own blade. Ruined. You spend hours digging trenches hunting for tubers like you are looking for buried treasure, only to wake up the next morning with a stiff lower back and blistered hands. Is this really connecting with nature? Or is it just punishment? Ruth Stout famously said, "I would rather plant a garden in a dress than dig a hole in overalls." So I have a question for the community. Are you tired of the shovel fatigue? Are you tired of turning gardening into a battle against the earth? If you are ready to put the shovel down forever, type the words "no dig" in the comments below. Let's see how many of us are ready to work smarter, not harder. Because the method we are about to learn requires zero digging, zero weeding, and zero watering. It sounds impossible. It sounds like a scam. But once you understand the thermodynamics of hay, you will realize it is the only way nature intended potatoes to grow. So how did an 80-year-old woman out-farm the industrial machines? It starts with understanding what a potato actually is. Botanically, a potato is not a root. It is a storage tuber. It forms on a stem called a stolon that grows above the seed potato. This is crucial, because tubers do not need soil to grow. They only need two things, darkness and humidity. When you bury a potato in heavy clay soil, you are forcing it to fight a war against physics. The soil is heavy. It is dense. As the tuber tries to expand, it meets resistance. The energy that should go into growing the potato is wasted on pushing the dirt aside. But Ruth Stout changed the environment completely. She didn't dig a trench. She simply placed the seed potato directly on the surface of the hard ground, and then she covered it with a thick, fluffy blanket of old hay, about 8 inches deep. This is where the magic happens. Hay is mostly air. It offers zero physical resistance. The potato feels no pressure. It is free to expand in any direction. This is why stout potatoes are rarely misshapen. They are perfectly round and massive because nothing is holding them back. But the real secret isn't just space, it is temperature. Potatoes are a cool season crop. When the soil temperature exceeds 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius, the plant gets stressed. It stops producing tubers. In a traditional garden, the bare dirt bakes in the summer sun. It gets hot. The potato shuts down. But under 8 inches of hay, it is a biological air conditioner. The hay acts as insulation. Even if it is 90 degrees outside, the soil surface remains a cool, moist 65 degrees. By keeping the roots cool, you trick the plant into thinking it is still spring. You extend the growing season by weeks. More time equals bigger potatoes. And then there is the harvest. This is the part that will make you want to burn your shovel. In the traditional method, harvest day is a demolition project. You have to dig. You have to hunt. You have to scrub the dirt off the skins. In the Ruth Stout method, harvest day is a treasure hunt. You walk out to the garden, you kneel down, you gently pull back the layer of hay, and there they are, resting right on top of the ground, clean, dry. No mud, no damage. You simply pick them up. You put the hay back to feed the soil for next year, and you walk away. Nature did the plowing, the hay did the weeding, the rain did the watering. You just did the collecting. But before you rush out to buy a bale of hay, there is a hidden danger you need to know about. A modern poison that could wipe out your entire garden if you aren't careful. In Ruth Stout's time, hay was just dried grass. But today we have to deal with a chemical weapon called Aminopyralid. It is a persistent herbicide often sprayed on cattle pastures to kill weeds. The problem is, it doesn't break down. The cow eats the grass. It passes through the cow. It ends up in the manure, or it stays on the dry hay. And it can stay active for 3 years. If you put contaminated hay on your garden, your potatoes will sprout, but the leaves will curl up like claws. They will look like withered ferns, and they will die. It is called killer hay. So before you use this method, you must act like a scientist. Ask the farmer, was this field sprayed with Grazon or Grazon? Next, if they don't know, do a simple test. Plant a few bean seeds in a pot with some of the hay soaked in water. Beans are the canary in the coal mine. If the beans grow straight, the hay is safe. If they curl and twist, burn that hay. Do not put it near your food. Once you have secured safe organic hay or old straw or shredded leaves, the strategy is simple. Step 1. Do not dig. Do not till. Just mow the weeds down if you have to. Step 2. Place your seed potatoes directly on the surface of the soil. Space them about 12 inches apart. Step 3. Cover them with 8 to 10 inches of hay. It needs to be thick enough to block all sunlight. If the sun hits the tuber, it turns green and becomes toxic. Step 4. Walk away. That is it. You don't need to hill them. You don't need to weed them. The hay blocks the weeds from growing. The hay holds the moisture, so you rarely need to water. As the hay breaks down, it feeds the worms which fertilize the potatoes for you. It is a closed-loop system. We have been conditioned to believe that suffering is a requirement for success. But nature does not suffer. The forest does not sweat. It just flows. Ruth Stout taught us that laziness is just another word for efficiency. By throwing away the shovel, you are not giving up. You are stepping out of the way and letting biology do the work. So this season I challenge you. Try one bed, just one. Compare the digging method with the Stout method, and let your back decide which one is better. If you are ready to join the no-dig revolution, prove it to me. Type the words "no dig" in the comments below. Let the algorithm know that we are done fighting the soil. We are ready to work with it. Hit the like button to support Effortless Abundance and subscribe to Ancestral Garden, because the smartest farmer is the one who watches nature do the work.